What's going on, you guys? It's the FPL Penguin Calvin back again with another guest stream for you all. And in today's guest stream, we are joined by, all the way from FPL Juice, he'll join us in a minute, Nick, and we're also joined by Glenn, and hopefully joined by IBK as well, aka FPL Sandwich as well. Here he is, Nick. And lads, thank you for joining me. Hope you're both doing good. We've got quite a lot to talk about. The season nearly here. First game being Crystal Palace and Arsenal Friday night. Not long now. Are you guys ready? Are you pumped up for the season? Your drafts and everything? You're not ready? No.
It doesn't help. The worse I get.
It doesn't help that my team starts this Premier League season as well. It just is scary.
We'll talk about Arsenal a bit later on. But just a quick intro. Been doing this with my guests. Also Ash as well, who's another host of the FPL Juice on Nick's and Ash's channel. So basically get to know my guests a bit more better for myself and you guys out there. We'll start off with Nick. Also, we have heard from Ash, but we'd love to hear your side of it. How you and Ash met, and James and FPL Juice, how it became what it is. Sure, Ash has told us already, but love to hear from you and who you are as well. Tell us, mate.
Yeah, cool. So basically, myself and Ash used to work together. I say work. He was one of the laziest people I've ever worked with, I would say. So he used to basically ring in sick most days, but especially if I had a bad weekend on FPL, you wouldn't see him on a Monday morning. That's guaranteed. So, but yeah, we worked together, got to know each other there, and then producer James, who's obviously he still produces, but you tend to see him on camera occasionally now as well. He's terrible at FPL, but he doesn't pretend to be any good at it. He just likes joining in the chat normally. So he's a friend of one of my old school friends, and me and Ash wanted to do an FPL podcast, but in fairness, James has a studio and does it for a living, basically, like puts on podcasts. As you've seen, some of the Love Island guys have been on the different podcasts he's done, and loads of different exciting ones. He does Richard Lee, the old Watford goalkeeper. He started producing his podcast. So there's quite a few different types of podcasts he does. So got us involved, and yeah, we were able to luckily had the opportunity to jump in the studio on James's goodwill, basically, and let's record, and we kind of just have fun with it. As anyone who watches the show will know, that we never profess to be experts. We don't tell you how to play the game. We're decent FPL managers, but we're certainly not, the likes of these guys where you see them have consistent top 5K finishes year after year. I just enjoy playing the game, and I like chatting about it with other people that like playing as well. So we just try and have basically the same sort of chats that we would have in the pub. We have in a studio with the cameras and microphones on, really. But yeah, we love it. We love playing, and it's been so good to get to know the community. Like obviously yourself, been on the show a few times and chat to you. This is what it's all about, just meeting other people that play the game and not necessarily telling each other, everyone's got to pick this one player, but just having conversations that provoke a thought that might make you think about looking at the situation a different way, and ultimately you got to make your own mind up. So yeah, that's our podcast really. We play a lot of silly games, take the mick out of each other constantly, and and we leave the experts to do the stats.
Yeah, FPL Juice, such a fun stream. I was telling Ash as well. It's all about the bants. Having good fun, good laughs, and everything like that. You got your guest the player as well, which is a great laugh as well. If you remember me doing it, but he took about 3 minutes to guess the player.
3 minutes 33,
which was fun. There we go. Thanks for reminding everybody. I think we've got IBK here. Thank you, Nick. How you doing, mate? IBK, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
I think you need to turn your microphone up a bit. While we wait for you, we'll get on to Glenn now. And what about you, Glenn? How did everything happen with you to make a YouTube channel, or 2 YouTube channels? Tell us about yourself as well.
I mean, I only started like around 2019. It's very, very recent. Like, actually, someone told me, like, why aren't you on YouTube? And then they were actually asking me to do vlogs. And I actually tried it for the first couple of days. And I was like, nah, man, this is not the thing for me. And then I actually didn't actually started talking about Arsenal on YouTube at all. I was just obviously just watching other people on YouTube and stuff. Didn't actually know how to do it. And then the time Emre got sacked, I'm sorry to Unai Emre, but the time he got sacked, I actually felt like I needed to say something about him. And that's when I actually recorded something for the first time. And that video was terrible, man. Like, just don't go watch it at all. It was absolutely terrible. It's like a video in the kitchen and something. And then people actually watched it, and actually people commented a couple of terrible comments. You know, the YouTube trolls. That was my first video. But I never gave up. I just kept on going, and then started doing previews, doing reactions, and then build up lineup videos and all that. Built the audience, and then that's how I just became really, really enjoying talking about Arsenal. There's nothing as good. I think you guys would agree. There's nothing as good as back in the day. I'd have an Arsenal question, but I'd not have anyone to ask. But now with the YouTube channel, like when you have a question, you can just put it in the poll, put it in the video, and ask people when you have a community. So that's really, really beneficial from creating your own community. And then from everything football is just being a fan of FPL, Champions League fantasy as well, World Cup videos, all that. That's what I do on the other channel. So Arsenal channel, and then for football stuff on the other channel as well.
Awesome. IBK, how you doing, mate? How are things?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. All good, mate.
Yeah, all good.
Tell us about yourself, mate. What got you
About
into
myself?
FPL and everything.
Yeah, it's good to meet you guys. So what got me into FPL, I'll just cut it just very brief, but my friend at university, he got me into FPL, and then that was about 2 seasons ago. That was in like first year of uni. And then 2 years in that year we spoke about creating content for our channel, and the year after, it was this time last year, we actually created our channel. And yeah, I've taken it very seriously. For anyone that knows, I host like marathon spaces, and I get opinions from managers like all over the world, from India, from the UK, from Australia, from everywhere. And it's really nice to get everyone's perspective on their strategies, their way of like how they think, decision making. And yeah, I'm just a fan of football myself. And also my day job is information analyst. So I work with spreadsheets a lot. I use data fetching tools like SQL, Excel, Power BI, that kind of stuff. So I'm always drawn to the data, how data can be interpreted into what goes on the pitch, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I've met FPL. I've met people like in real life in the Game Week 39 event as well. So yeah, I just love FPL. So I'm really passionate about football, passionate about FPL. I love meeting new people as well. So, and I've been a big fan of your channel, Calvin. So
thank you.
That's a bit about myself, really. So thank you.
Awesome. Great to have you on as well. What we'll do, we'll move swiftly on now. Great intro from you guys. Thank you for that. We'll move on to the drafts. We'll start off with Nick, because I know Nick can't stay as long. We'll let Nick go first. Nick, talk us about your draft, your plans. Not long now until the deadline.
Yeah.
What's happening, mate?
Well, I'm just spinning the roulette wheel every day and landing on a different formation and a different premium. But the kind of, I guess, where I'm locked into now is definitely Trent, Robertson, Trippier and Perisic. They're locks for me. I really, really like those four as a back four. I think for me, I know Robertson v Diaz is kind of the big debate in terms of that third Liverpool spot. For me, I think Robertson's just more consistent and ultimately, I guess, not the safer pick, but I just think he's the sensible pick in terms of if you look at what he's delivered. Diaz could absolutely go off, I'm sure, but Robertson every year is just there or thereabouts. Even last year, look, he missed quite a few games at the start of the season, and still, when push comes to shove, he's right at the top of the scoring. And for 7 million, I just don't think you can really ignore him. So I think I'm going to go with him for the third Liverpool spot. Perisic, I just really like what I've seen in the limited minutes. Look at Ash there getting involved. With Perisic, I do think that seeing him in pre-season in limited minutes he's had, you've seen him, like his crossing ability is insane. He gets shots off, 2-footed. I was considering Doherty, but I think Perisic is worth that extra 0.5. And especially the way Conte's got Spurs set up this year, I think he can be really good. Trippier, I just think 5 million for someone who's on direct free kicks, dead balls for Newcastle. I think the feel-good factor around Newcastle this year is going to be a massive factor for them. Even looking at them, pre-season friendlies, that ground is absolutely rocking, and I think they can bring the fun times back to Newcastle. And certainly, I know I'll probably get some questions about the Callum Wilson pick, but I think a fit Callum Wilson playing in a team that's kind of firing on all fronts, I don't see why he can't, perform. Certainly at 7.5, I think he could do well. Trent's just Trent, got to have him. Midfield, obviously Salah. He's locked in as well, as is Martinelli. I think this could really be Martinelli's year. I'll be interested to see what Glenn thinks about that, because obviously he probably knows him a lot better than me. But for me, I think just a fantastic talent. Looks great in pre-season. With Smith Rowe being kind of not fully fit at the minute as well, I think that Martinelli's definitely a must-have at 6 mil. And then Son, I just think he's one of my favourite players to own in the game. I know a lot of people are going Kane. I just fancy a differential. It'd be very easy for me to swap Son down to an 8 million midfielder and then make Wilson become Kane. But I want to do something different. I do believe that midfielders always score more points than forwards in FPL. So I think I'd rather go with the Salah and Son double up as a bit of a differential to a lot of other managers out there. And then the other, obviously, Jesus, I think he'll have a fantastic season for Arsenal. I've never been the biggest fan of him, but I think he just seems to have clicked at Arsenal straight away. I think he is highly owned. It's a bit boring to have him, but sometimes the simplest answer is the right one, I guess. And then the players that are a bit fluid, for me, really, is whether I go for Sanchez in goal or I do this now Leicester double up of Iverson and Ward, save myself 500,000. And then potentially upgrade like Bailey. And again, with James, do I go Reece James or Doherty, as I said, for Tottenham, maybe a Tottenham defence double up? For me, I think, from what we've seen, Chelsea are going to be playing this back three. Reece James is going to be as a wing back, and I think he offers great value at 6. So unless anything changes, I know a lot of people have gone off the Chelsea defence because it's not been particularly great in pre-season, but James offers you so much more than clean sheets. So let's see how they get on. And yeah, the bench is fairly template, I guess. Andreas, an enabler, and Bailey's just had a great pre-season. But I've got 0.5 in the bank as well, so I can change Bailey to Neto, or I can change, him up even more to someone if I decide to downgrade Sanchez or James.
Awesome. We'll move on. We'll get Glenn's thoughts because you were talking about Martinelli and stuff. So, Glenn, any questions or what your thoughts on Nick's team?
Oh yeah, about Martinelli's question, I think it's definitely going to start for us right from the start of the season. 2 months ago, I didn't think so. Before we signed Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe, but now that they're injured, Martinelli has been playing most minutes for us during the preseason. When everyone else was getting subbed off at halftime, he was staying in and around. Like against Sevilla the other day, he played until the 90th minute. So I think he's going to feature for us a lot. He's not currently in my team, as you'll see, but I'm definitely thinking about bringing him in. The rest of the team, I'm interested about Perisic. Is Perisic a definite starter?
Well, he's played more minutes as time's gone on. I probably wouldn't, and this is my main reason for having Bailey on the bench, because I wanted to have someone. I think if I was going to risk Perisic, I want to have someone to step in that's going to be a decent player. So I do feel like, with the bench I haven't got. A lot of people have got Nico Williams, or they've got Patson of Everton. For probably a 2-pointer, whereas I want to have someone that he doesn't play. I think Bailey will be a good player to have in, but I guarantee, like Perisic with the five kind of substitute rule that we've got, even what he could do in one half, I think even if he's being gradually brought in, what he could do in one half could be enough. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But I agree, he is a risk. But I think he's definitely first choice. It's just his fitness. That's the only concern.
Also, no City players is very interesting, man. Like, absolutely interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Do you know what? I've been burnt so many. My first drafts all had Mahrez in. All of them had Mahrez in, and most of them had Cancelo in. But I just think Cancelo is a little bit overpriced. You know, I think probably 90% of managers out there will disagree with me, but Cancelo, he's had one good season in FPL for me, and he should have scored more. I just think that there's better options out there for the money. I'm sure he'll probably prove me wrong now I've said that. But when it comes to City, like all the midfielders are a risk, and Haaland as well is a bit of a risk. I just don't want to take the punt. I don't want the pain of like looking at the Man City team sheet and being disappointed. You know, same goes. A lot of people have got Kyle Walker, and I can understand why. But again, when Nathan Ake starts at left back and Cancelo moves to right back, and you're sat there thinking, "Oh my God, why have I done this?" Kyle Walker, he's done it to me again. Like, I just don't think it's worth the risk. I'd rather go for people that are nailed to play. And again, I'd rather have Matt Doherty over Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's not an attacking player. You might get the odd clean sheet, but what did he get last year? Like under 100 points the last like 3 or 4 seasons. I can't see the hype around him myself. I'd rather have Gabriel from Arsenal, one of your boys.
IBK, your thoughts? Anything on next team? Any question?
He's speechless. That's
speechless. Absolutely speechless.
That is the quality of this team. I told you. He's doing his draft right now. He's amending his team to be this team. That's what he's doing.
Here he is. Right. What's your thoughts, mate, on next team?
The connection could be behind.
Probably.
This team's broken the internet.
Yeah, you see, even Ash is just, enjoying it.
Do you know what? Ash has put there no Man United, and that's the only thing. I can easily go Wilson to Martial. That's the other question in my mind.
Just let you guys know, he's just done on the private chat IBK saying he's having issues with his mic at the minute. So, all right. Well, what we'll do, we'll move on. And we'll move on straight on to Glenn's team. Where's Glenn? And then we'll get his thoughts here. Right, Glenn. While we wait for IBK and his mic problems.
Right. Right away, you can see how shocked I was that Nick's team doesn't have Man City players because I have 3, and I'm not going to change that at all. So, Mendy goalkeeper. I know what you said about Chelsea's defense, but I still think Mendy's a very good goalkeeper. Even when he scored 4 goals against them the other day, he still made a couple of very good saves. For having Chelsea's defense last season, they started the season very, very well. Like I think they conceded like 2 goals in the first 10 games or something, and like one of them was a penalty from Salah. They kept so many clean sheets at the beginning of the season. This time around, I'm not going to miss out on that. I think when the likes of Koulibaly adapt the team, I think the first 2 games are hard against Everton and Tottenham, but after that, I can see a lot of clean sheets. Connor Cody is there because he probably was my best player from last season. I had him when the Wolves had a lot of clean sheets, and he really did well for me. Even notched up a couple of crucial goals for Wolves and got me some points there. So I still don't think Wolves will concede a lot of goals, even if I'm hearing last season they had a lot of expected goals conceded or something like that. But I think he will still do well. They still have Jose Sa there. They still have the likes of Willy Bolly, so I think they'll do well. Now Diaz, about Cancelo, I actually agreed, Nick. I had Cancelo in at 7 million. But I removed him very, very quickly on the first day, and I had Laporte before he got injured. I had Laporte because he had a lot of goals last season, more than Cancelo. And Diaz actually had 7 attacking returns, 5 assists and 2 goals last season. So I'm thinking that is, I'm not sure how many Cancelo had, but that is a good return for me from a defender. He was winning a couple of penalties for them. And if they keep a clean sheet, both of them will get the 4 points. So I know Cancelo is like a bonus points magnet, but I think Diaz could also almost do the same as well. And he's always there as long as he's fit. Ben White is going to start for us at right back. For the guys who had Tomiyasu, I have a feeling even when Tomiyasu comes back, he won't start. I think Ben White will just start at that right back position and kind of play there until at least after the World Cup. Tomiyasu's injury is a bit too much, so I can see him featuring in the Europa League maybe. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold, I mean, everyone has him, very, very good. 2 seasons ago, I didn't have him for the entire campaign. I'll never, ever do that again. Mohamed Salah is the captain against Fulham. Everyone has him. Bruno Guimaraes really impressed me last season, especially at the end of the campaign. He really did well. He was getting involved in goals. He even cost us Champions League football, unfortunately. He scored against us when we went to Newcastle. And yep, he was terrible for us, but he's going to be very good for Newcastle in the first few fixtures for them, especially against Nottingham Forest on the opening day. Really like that. Mahrez is on penalties. And the thing with City, I always start with one City player. But when it gets to mid-season, like everyone is above 100 points, even if they play 5-6 games. So this time around, I'm not going to be missing out on that. Mahrez on penalties, on a few corners as well. I think he'll do well. And now that the likes of Sterling have left. Neto, a bit of peer pressure and all the stats that Penguin has been putting on Twitter and Instagram about Neto having great preseason. I just changed that to Neto. But just like Nika said about Martinelli, I'm really considering having Martinelli. I have 0.5 in the bank, and I can just move directly from Neto to him or move from Bruno Guimaraes to him. But I'm also trying not to have too many Arsenal players in the team. If Arsenal had Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham in the first 3 games instead of Crystal Palace, I'd probably have gone with a triple Arsenal. But Crystal Palace is a tough game for us. I don't think we'll score that many goals in that game. So that's why I've not gone for Saka and Martinelli at the moment, but they could still come in for one of Mahrez or Neto. And then Jesus, as we said, everyone has him. Not everyone had him 2 months ago. By the way, not everyone had him, but after the goals, I think he'll do well. And Haaland, obviously, it's between Haaland and Kane, but I've gone for Haaland because I think City will do really, really well. I don't have Man United. Ash said something about Man United. We are only going for the big teams in this draft, only the big teams. So we are not including Man United players in this one. No Everton players. Calvin would love that as well. But I've also considered the youngster. Is it Anthony Gordon? Yeah, I've considered Gordon. And as you can see on the bench, I do have Ramsey because of their fixtures. I have good fixtures. Buemo, he might end up leaving, and Nico Williams as well. So I have the option of going for downgrading Buemo and then maybe moving from Cody to another defender, maybe from Man United or something. But I'd need to know if Lisandro Martinez starts for them. Definitely, I could end up going for him instead of Cody in this team. But that's how my team is setting up. Ward is the last player who's come to my team yesterday.
Just to add, Glenn, I've got a question. Would you really not want someone like Saka in your team instead of Mahrez? Because you being an Arsenal fan, you know, Saka takes set pieces. In pre-season, been linking up well with Jesus. Would you not be tempted to go for that double up? Instead of Martinelli and Jesus, why don't you go for Saka and Jesus? Would you not like that?
Yeah, I've thought about that. I think that's why I've said if we didn't have Crystal Palace in the first game, I probably would have gone for Saka. I know City have a tough game against West Ham, but City are City, man. City are City. They'll always score goals against anyone. And Mahrez, I know he missed a penalty against West Ham last season, but I can see him starting the season very well. I've thought about Saka and Martinelli. There's a chance of them coming in and probably a Man United defender. I think Man United, even though I've said something bad about them, I still think they're going to improve defensively next season with Lisandro Martinez and all those guys. So we might end up seeing Lisandro Martinez in this team and probably Saka instead of Mahrez, maybe in game week 2. But as of now, striking, I'm not going to change anything. Buemo could move to Brennan Johnson of Nottingham Forest, but then again, 2-3 players for Nottingham Forest seems a bit too much. Bruno Guimaraes is definitely going to stay. Salah is definitely going to stay. So maybe just Cody to someone else and then Saka from Mahrez.
Cool. I'll tell you something. Ash is really on one tonight. I suppose
I told you he doesn't do any work, didn't I?
Oh god! Right. Well, welcome back, IBK. I hope your mic is okay now.
Yeah, I haven't. Do you know what the thing is? I haven't streamed in like 2 months, and it just caught to me. So for those of
FPL pressure.
I know, right? For those of you out there who can't use a camera, I feel for you, man. Anyway. I've just stripped it back to basics now. I'm just using my webcam from my laptop. So good to go.
Now that we've got you your voice back on and everything, do you want to give that look? Any questions for Glenn's team on this?
Honestly, I don't like this draft. I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about Nick's draft, the one with Wilson. And when I saw Wilson, I had a smile on my face because 3% of managers own Wilson, and it's close to 75% of ownership for Jesus. And, I put in one of our group chats that people that have Jesus are the people that never, ever have cold showers, because taking cold showers is very, is risky. Like no one wants it. It's uncomfortable feeling. So I really like that he's that Wilson pick, and I have Wilson as well. And I saw a stat from I forgot his name, but he says that Wilson has had a successful start to the season over the past 4 or 5 seasons. And I just feel like what Nick was saying about, you know, the Newcastle Stadium rocking, you know, Forest are going to one of the most intimidating grounds in the Premier League. So I just feel like Wilson can hit the ground running. And also in game week 2, when Newcastle play Brighton have lost Cucurella and they've lost Bissouma. So I can just feel like Newcastle can go, oh, we can target these guys without Bissouma and without Cucurella, who are 2 of their arguably best players. So yeah, I quite like that Wilson pick. And I think for me personally, 4-4-2 is the best team structure because it's the best balance. You've got, you know, 2 strikers, and you know, I think on your bench, this is Glenn's team.
Yeah.
I just don't like that double Wolves pick. Like, I live in Wolverhampton myself, and the consensus is that, you know, we haven't done much transfer in the market, and you know, Bruno Lage hasn't strengthened the attacking areas, and I think there's too many punts in his team. Mahrez is a punt. You know, he's going to share minutes with Alvarez. Bruno Guimaraes, that's not a good pick, because if Shelvey is injured, that will mean that Bruno will have to drop back a little bit to do some more defensive work. You don't have Cancelo, and Cancelo is a premium defender, and he played the most outfield minutes for City last season. But I can see what you did there. You wanted to downgrade to get to have the 1 million to spend elsewhere. Mendy, you know, Chelsea's defense is not great. If they sign defenders before the transfer window ends, then that's fine. But I just think there's too many punts. So Glenn, I'm sorry, but it's a no from me this draft. Sorry.
Is there anything that IBK loves on this team? Is there anything?
He likes Ward. Ward is the second keeper.
Right, Nick, what's your thoughts, mate, on Glenn? Any questions?
Do you know what? I like the Mahrez pick. And I can understand why Glenn would go for it. I'm just not ultimately. Let me tell you, Mahrez was my captain on game week 38 last season when we did the live end of season stream. I captained Mahrez, and he completely screwed me over. So I just put off by him. But
I've got Mahrez PTSD myself.
He could get 2 goals and an assist easy if he plays on the first day of the season. So fair play, like for that pick. For me personally, if I was going to go Haaland, I would still go Kane for game week 1, and then the transfer for the Bournemouth game for Haaland in game week 2. I would go Kane because I think West Ham away is quite a tough fixture. I'm not saying he couldn't score, but I think Kane playing Southampton's got far better chance of hauling than Haaland has against West Ham. I don't like the Cody pick, but I do like the Diaz pick. I think that's a good shout. I think 6 million. I guess the only thing is, I think it's just the goal threat, isn't it? I mean, he didn't play as many games as last year because of injury and stuff. But I think we saw a bit of goal threat from him the year before, so this could easily be a season. Yeah. Laporte had a great season for goal returns last year, but that's kind of the first time he's displayed that. Like, he wasn't doing that previously. So I think Diaz could easily outperform Laporte this year. Bruno, I know what IBK is saying. He does play a little bit too deep for me for 6 mil. But for 6 million, like, who else are you going to get? Lingard, he's still a better option than Lingard. Martinelli would be the one 100%, especially as an Arsenal fan. I can't believe I'm not seeing Martinelli in your team.
Too many Arsenal players. That really hurt me last season. I went for too many Arsenal players, and it cost me most of the times.
I know, but listen, this is the second dawn. This is the second coming of Arsenal's success. Surely. Jesus,
but I do agree.
Saka,
I do agree with you guys.
Like, for an Arsenal fan, I think you should. I think you should do Ben White to any other 4.5, and then you should do Bruno to Martinelli and Mahrez to Saka. Boom.
Saka will probably come in. Saka will probably come into this team because he's on penalties for us, so he'll probably come into this team. I do agree with IBK in terms of Neto and Cody. I've really gone for two of them and Bruno because of their fast fixtures. Like they have Leeds and Fulham, and I can see Wolves scoring a couple. Yes, they're not the best in terms of scoring goals, but Leeds and Fulham, Leeds concede a lot of goals, and Fulham are newly promoted, and they could easily keep clean sheets. So maybe after the second game week, I could end up not having this team, but probably between Bruno and Neto, one of them will go for Martinelli or Saka very, very soon. But
I think Glenn, what you need to think about is like the ceiling or the capacity of these players. For example, as a combination, Bruno Guimaraes, Mahrez, and Jesus versus Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. Which combo scores more points? For me personally, I think it's Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. And when you look at Ben White, you could consider and Cody, you can consider players like maybe there's Dallo, there is other 4.5s, and you've got money on your bench as well. So unless you're playing the bench boost, I think you should just make your bench fodder. That's what I think anyway.
I just want to touch on before, because you were talking about Haaland and Kane. I'm spoiler alert. Because we'll talk about team later on. I'm more looking at Haaland over Kane. I've been fiddling around with it only because in pre-season, I know a lot of people don't really take pre-season on so much by looking at stats and stuff. But West Ham been starting relatively strong sides against these teams. They won 2-0 against Servette FC. They drew 1-1 with Boreham Wood, won 2-1 against Ipswich, drew 1-1 with Reading, lost 3-1 to Rangers, drew 1-1 with Luton, and drew 0-0 with Lens. And they've relatively had a strong starting lineup and brought all the big boys on. I was impressed by Haaland against Liverpool. I think he's slowly, like Nunes is for Liverpool, quickly adapting, should I say. And I think Haaland, I feel more tempted to go Haaland over Kane. And then I don't feel like I need to waste a transfer if I go into game week 2 against Bournemouth.
Can I just say something, Calvin? I agree. And I was doing the spaces, and Ash, I was talking to Ash yesterday, and he was saying, why booking the transfer when you can just avoid that booking transfer in game week 1? So for me personally, I look at it over the course of 2 game weeks. Who scores more points? Is it Haaland facing Bournemouth and West Ham, or is it going to be Kane facing Chelsea and facing Southampton? For me, I'd rather avoid banking a transfer, banking that move, or booking a move, and focusing on other fights to put out. I watched your stream, and Matt was saying he's changing his strategy to become more aggressive. So he's going for Kane and then, doing that hokey cokey to Haaland. But I just think it just saves me 4 points. I'd rather be 4 points ahead with Haaland already in game week 1 than booking that transfer in game week 2, because anything can change in game week 2, and there could be a hidden gem that we don't know about that I could just move to, and saves me doing the -4. So I like the Haaland pick for me.
Yeah. We'll quickly move on now, IBK, to your draft. Thank you, Glenn. But yeah, IBK, tell us about your draft, your plans, what's happening. Not long now until deadline. What's going on?
Yeah, this is the best draft in the world, guys. You're witnessing a master.
See what Ash says. See what Ash.
Yeah, you're witnessing some, if you guys can spam some W's in the chat, but I just love this draft. It's just a thing of beauty, This is like the Mona Lisa and the Louvre in Paris. But seriously though, like I really like this team. This is a team that like makes you raise your eyebrow, like Carlo Ancelotti when he raises his eyebrow. Yeah, I really love this team. I've gone for Pope because I love that Newcastle defense. When Howe took over, they were like at home one of the best defenses in the league, and I've doubled up with Trent and Robbo because both fullbacks are integral to how Liverpool play. You know that, Calvin, yourself. Doherty, I just want a piece of that Spurs defense, and Cancelo. I've got 3 premium fullbacks there, and for me, I'm giving Cancelo that Bournemouth game to sort of prove himself, because In the last maybe 10 games of last season, he didn't really get much attacking returns. So I kind of, like Glenn did, he downgraded from Cancelo to Diaz and used that 1 mil extra. So if Cancelo doesn't get one attacking return against Bournemouth, then how is he going to get an attacking return against the likes of West Ham, Spurs, etc., Chelsea? So yeah, I've gone against Jesus because I feel like Martinelli and Saka will get the lion's share of the points on Friday. And then I've gone for Bailey. I mean, a lot of people have Bailey in their teams as that 5 million midfielder, and I've captained King Salah. And I've got Wilson. I've spoken about Wilson. I think he will hit the ground running at Newcastle. If he doesn't hit the ground running, then please don't at me on Twitter because I will I will hide. And Haaland, my vice captain. So, and my bench is just template bench. So I quite like this team. So yeah, any questions? Any questions about this team? Any holes you think are in this team?
We'll go straight to Glenn then, because I know he's a big fan of Jesus, and I'm sure he would have something to say.
Yeah, man, I want to see what you have to say.
I actually do like the Saka Martinelli pick. I saw Ash in the comments earlier saying Martinelli doesn't really deliver in terms of goals, but in preseason he's been very good. Like assists, I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of Arsenal's fan base predicting Martinelli to have the most assists for us this season. So I do like that pick. I might end up removing Bruno Guimaraes from Martinelli IBK. Don't worry. I do like the Bailey pick. I actually do expect Aston Villa to have a good season. I've predicted them to finish 7th in the league. So I do think they're going to have a really big season with Gerrard, the likes of Bailey and Coutinho going to have great. Pope as well, surprisingly, I do like him as well. I think he's really going to help Newcastle. He's a very good shot stopper. Like, he doesn't really deserve to be relegated last season. He didn't really deserve to be relegated. Like, Burnley would have been relegated a long time before if Pope wasn't there at all.
Ash. Yes, Ash. Ashton is the best draft of the evening. Yeah,
listen, let me tell you from experience, if he rates your draft, that's bad news for your draft.
The guy finishes like 1 million. He finishes 1 million.
You guys haven't seen the light, man. You guys need to see the light. But yeah, sorry, carry on. Sorry.
I mean, the bench, I heard what you talked about in terms of having a non-playing bench, so I'm not spending too much money on the bench. I guess I turned into that after a lot of games are being obviously postponed last season. I guess that will change this season, so you might have a bench of a couple of players. But I think the entire team, I like it apart from maybe Doherty. I don't think Tottenham will keep that many clean sheets, to be fair. So I know you have him there as attacking potential, but the whole team, I do like it apart from Doherty.
Yeah, because like I was doing combinations again with the goalkeeper and the defender. So it was a case of Jose Sarr versus Jose Sarr and Trippier, or Nick Pope and Doherty. So I chose Nick Pope and Doherty because over 2 game weeks, I think that's the better combination. But if you have a different combination I can try, let me know. But Ramsdale is out of the equation because I want to go from Wilson to Jesus in game week 3. And hopefully Jesus has dropped in price so I can just, enjoy that.
I have bad news for you. He will be 9 million by game week 4.
What?
I have bad news.
I
really do think it's going to. We've lacked a striker for like 2-3 seasons. Okay, Aubameyang was great, but we've really lacked a striker for 2 seasons. So obviously, if Jesus scores, it's going to be Saka and Martinelli assisting. So you basically have covered that. But I think Jesus is going to score a lot for us this season.
Would you agree, Glenn, that? By the way, I'll follow you on Twitter and I can DM you. But don't you think that Jesus's shot conversion rate, doesn't that worry you a little bit? I know he's looked good in pre-season, but when he was playing for Man City, they created more chances that he would have at Arsenal. They had better creators at City than at Arsenal, but then his shot conversion rate was poor. Even though he played before game, he would miss chances just like Jota misses chances. So does that worry? Well, you're an Arsenal fan, so that wouldn't really worry you. But for me personally, as an FPL owner, that would worry me a bit. And against Palace, they're not going to give him the chances that he's getting in pre-season. So, and I just think that Newcastle fixture is slightly better than Palace away, for me personally.
I do agree.
That's the way Palace play. They have Guehi and Anderson as centre-back, so they will man-mark him. So that leaves Martinelli and Saka on either wings, and they will like 1v1 Klein and Ward, I think. So yeah, go on. What's your thoughts on Jesus' shot conversion rate and etc.?
Yeah, definitely at City. He actually did miss a lot of chances sometimes at City, but we saw like against Watford last season, he scored like 4 goals. At Arsenal, he's mostly going to get more than 80 minutes at Arsenal. They worry about Saka and Martinelli. This season, there are 5 subs allowed. So expect, especially when Smith Rowe comes back, expect Martinelli to be subbed off around the 58th minute a lot of the games. When Fabio Vieira comes back as well, Saka will be subbed off as well. If he score 2 goals, Saka will go off and someone else will come in. Jesus, if you want, in terms of minutes, Jesus will always play for us 80 to 85 minutes. I know you're talking about the shot conversion rate, but I think he'll get a lot of chances from Saka and Martinelli. So I guess if he gets 4 chances and scores 2, I mean, he'll be happy with that. So I think his confidence is built up the confidence. And as the season goes on, getting more minutes than he did at City, he never even really played 5 games in a row at City. So having that at Arsenal, 5-10 games in a row will build his confidence. So I can see him really, really returning. And that isn't really a substitution risk. Just like Odegaard. Odegaard will always play 90 minutes for us. So whoever has Odegaard in the team, although he's not the best of options, he'll always play 90 minutes. Martinelli and Saka will always get subbed off. So that's my thought on Jesus. I think he'll build up the confidence in the game minutes he's going to play.
Awesome. Nick, do you want to add anything? Or
in fairness, I think it's a really nice draft. I've had similar. I really like the Pope pick. I do think Pope could easily outscore Mendy this season. You look at how well we all thought Mendy did last season. Actually, when you look at the total points at the end of last year, he wasn't that high at all. He was way down the rankings. So I really wouldn't kind of bet against Pope outscoring him, especially with how good defensively Newcastle were in the second half of the season, especially. And the only thing, I mean, I'm not sold on Cancelo, but he could easily prove me wrong. So I'm not going to say that that's not a great pick. And I like everything else. I like, again, Haaland. I'm not going for him, but as we all know, he could score back-to-back hat-tricks. You know, it could easily happen. So, yeah, it's a nice team.
Awesome. I just want to quickly show this, obviously, with Nick still here. I know he needs to probably get off soon, but we'll wrap things up very, very soon. I just want to show you guys, get on to now my draft. Can't wait for someone like Nick or Ash in particular to slate.
Drum roll. You need a drum roll.
Excited. You're all excited, right? Okay. 3.
Has it changed from the last one?
Well, yes, it's changed quite a bit. Right. This is it. Behold, it is. Oh, right. It's got 0.5 in the bank. It's a 5-3-2 formation. And I put it on the FF Hub website, and they've put it at 97%. Game week rating, 86%. Predicted point, 66 points.
Is that how it works now, is it?
Probably. Listen, I'm trying to feel positive about this. Listen, I'm trying to stay positive.
FPL mate scores your team high, so it's guaranteed. Okay.
Ash, you're blocked. You're blocked, mate. You're blocked. Yeah, so this is my team. Edison in goal. Cancel at the back as well. Trent staying in there, obviously. Luca Dean takes corners. Had Craig on earlier from Man on Pod. He hypes him up as well, along with Cash. 4 assists last season. Perisic, we're going to put him in there. He looks exciting, Perisic. I know there was a lot of hype about 2 weeks ago, and then it kind of died down a bit. It's all about if he starts or not. Maybe we'll hear from some press conferences in the probably Friday afternoon. Who knows? James in there, DCL out, injured. He's not going to play. And then Rondon, he's suspended. So they got no bloody strikers, have they, Everton? So who's going to score a goal for them? Probably Tarkowski. Maybe a 1-0 win for Everton. Who knows? So I'm going to probably take a punt. I know there's a whole, if they sign another attack and right wing back, will they move James? And if they do it in time before the Everton game, move James to right centre back. So I've got some tinkering to do with that if that does happen again. And then I've got Saka instead of Martinelli. I prefer Saka. Of what he can do, contributes to that team, linking up well with Jesus, set pieces. I just prefer him for the extra 2 million. I just do. It would probably be better if I put down him down 2 million to Martinelli, and then I can spread it a bit more, the cash. But I prefer this. I really do. Salah, don't need to talk about him. He's the GOAT in the Premier League. Captain him. Absolutely going to probably destroy Fulham. Sorry, Combe. And then we've got Bailey in there, who's that little gem. Another one that Craig was talking about earlier. I just like him. I think I might have FOMO if I didn't go for him. And then I've got up front as well, the bench as well. Ward, Ash talking about earlier, it has been confirmed by Sky Sports that Schmeichel's moved to Nice now. So Ward and Iverson are the only goalkeepers at Leicester. And then I've got De Silva, Crystal Palace player, and I've got Andreas Pereira. And then up front, Jesus, obviously, Glenn's favourite. I've got to go for him, over 70%. And then I've got Haaland up front. It's just me whether I want to go for Kane or Haaland. And also IBK was talking about the whole, wasting the transfer and stuff and going from Kane to Haaland. But yeah, that's the team. Lads, feel free to rip it apart. Go on, thoughts. We'll go with Nick. Go on. I know what you've been doing on FPL Juice. You always rip my team apart.
Mate, what is Luca Dean doing in your team?
What's wrong with that? Takes corners. First 3 games, Bournemouth, Everton, Palace. It's not bad. Honestly, it's not bad.
Trippier takes corners, and he actually go.
Yeah,
go
but he's
in the
got
right
Forest. It could be a tough. I think it could be a tough test. Newcastle against Forest.
Luca Dean, how many times has Luca Dean let you down?
Oh, you're laughing now. We'll see what happens game week 1 when he gets an absolute haul, and then I'll at you on Twitter. And then
I do like the FPL Juice socks in the kit though. That's the best thing about it.
Represent
Orange.
It's just yeah. It's a good draft. Other than Dean, like I have no problem. To be fair, I've got no problem with the rest of the team. I think it's solid. But I just think Luca Dean has so many better picks than Dean.
Yeah. Well, no, watch him prove you wrong. He will. If Bobby gets sent off, he'll do an own goal. Own goal, he'll do an own goal.
When he gets injured on 25 minutes and he's out for a month, we'll revisit this conversation.
Yeah, we will. Anything else, Nick?
As I say, other than that, I actually like it. I think I think the tough love that we've given you when we rated your previous drafts has brought you to this place.
I said I'd come back stronger. I told you guys I'd come back stronger.
You have. But yeah, it's still, you can't quite let go of just being a little bit terrible with Luca Dean.
Here we go. Here's Combs saying quickly, Dean is out of Calvin's team once the stream is finished.
Got to be.
Right.
In all seriousness, what is it about? Because a lot of people are talking about Newcastle defence.
Yeah.
You have, and obviously some people are going for Pope, some people are going for Trippier. What do you not? But you don't think they're going to do well, or?
No, I think they're going to do well. I put them in my predictions probably 8th. I think they're going to for this season. I've got a lot of Newcastle mates. I just want to wait and see. I think that first 2 weeks I had Bruno G in my team and hyping him up, and then now he's gone from my team. I just want to wait and see how they do. I don't think Forest will be easy. I mean, last season, obviously, completely different team squad. What they have now, near enough. They beat Leicester in the cup. They beat Arsenal. Sorry, Glenn. They had a good game against us in the cup as well. But I just feel Forest could surprise a lot of teams, and
maybe. I just think Luca Dean. I could tell you 5 players, 5 million or less that I would rather have in my team than Luca Dean.
Fair enough. Whatever. Right, go on. We'll go for Glenn. Glenn, go on, rip it apart, mate. What are you saying?
I like this team, and as I put in the chat, FPL Penguin 2022-2023 FPL champion. I mean, Bailey, I've seen a lot of people with Bailey. I think he's owned by more than 12%. I know he's had a very good preseason. Probably could end up having him. The injuries, is he guaranteed to be fit? Because the injuries really worry me with Bailey. Like, will he not get injured after the first game week, and then he'll have to try and look for someone else and with subs? But we'll talk about that. Apart from him, Perisic, just as I said about, I think it was Nick's team. You had Perisic. So just like Perisic, I'm not sure if he's going to Tottenham are going to keep a lot of clean sheets, especially that second game against Chelsea. They struggle a lot against Chelsea. The rest of the team I do like the goalkeeper, expensive goalkeeper. Not too many people going for that. A lot of people going for Pope and cheaper goalkeeper. So I love the Ederson pick. Do you have a bench playing goalkeeper?
It's Ward.
Bench goalkeeper. Ward. So he'll probably be playing. So I do like the Ederson pick. The rest of the team is great. James, obviously, attacking potential. Cancelo. Saka, I do love his own penalties, so he'll probably get the returns for you.
Cool. Oh, at least he was more nice than Nick. At least you're more, Thank you. Anyway, IBK. What's your thoughts? You want to rip it apart? What's any questions on my team?
Yeah, it's just question marks over James and Edison because I just feel like with Laporte not in that team, I just feel like, I know that teams will not press City the way Liverpool pressed City in the Community Shield, but Laporte leaving, it could, and Ake being in that defense, I'm not confident they will keep clean sheets or be as strong defensively. And James as well, we've seen with Chelsea with their activity in the transfer market that they need maybe one more centre back. They've been looking at Fofana, Koundé fell through. So I'm not confident that Chelsea keep a clean sheet at Goodison Park. I know that we don't buy fullbacks for the clean sheets, but for the attacking returns. But yeah, like Nick was saying, Digne, I just don't like him. He's a trap and he's a troll. And he's a transfer waiting to happen. And when you buy transfers waiting to happen, you're one less step behind other people that don't have Digne in their teams. But I quite like the 5 at the back though. And I think you can take money out of Digne or take money out of James and have one more spot in your midfield and make it maybe a 4-4-2. But apart from that, I mean, Fantasy Football Hub says it's 97% rated, so I'm just talking waffle at this point in time.
I believe in the hub. I believe in it. It's predicting points and everything. So
yeah.
In the hub.
I think the fact that a Digne team can store 97% means their algorithms are all wrong. They need to rewrite that whole thing.
Listen, you guys have got to be. Listen, I could have had cash in here, and I did have cash in Luca Dean. I mean, you two would have just absolutely destroyed my draft if I had both Cash and Luca Dean in. But I like this. I think with 0.5 for them early price changes, I think I'm there near enough. It's just about Kane or Haaland, but I think I'll probably go for Haaland. Haaland's impressed me, even though Community Shield didn't do anything, missed a sitter. But yeah, I think Haaland's going to be very, very good. I've got Perisic there. If he starts, he doesn't start, we'll hear from Conte in his press conference, hopefully. But yeah, I think I'm just about there. I say I'm just about there. I prefer Saka over Martinelli, like I said. I've got Jesus, Glenn's favourite player at the moment. But yeah, I think I'm near enough there. Probably.
And I think as well, like your team, I think teams like these are very good because your captaincy is easily sorted. So game week 1 is Salah, game week 2 is Haaland, game week 3 is Salah again. You probably captain Salah again in game week 3. So yeah, I like the fact that your captaincy is already mapped out, so that you don't need to, transfer in premiums to captain them. So good team. I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, just that Digne pick is like.
I know. It's either going to go one way. He's going to score an own goal, or he's going to get a yellow card and concede, or he's going to haul. So I'll have to see.
He won't be in your team Friday night, I can tell you.
We'll see. You'll see.
I have a question. I've not seen. We've not talked about Son. Has anyone considered Son?
I've got him in my team, mate.
I mean, not as many people as last season, I'd say. Like, obviously, we've had a lot, like the likes of Haaland coming in, but I do think he's actually going to score in the first couple of games, especially against Southampton. The problem is just the price.
I've got him at 12, and I was thinking it was him or KDB. And I've fallen on Son because, again, guaranteed minutes more than De Bruyne. And he's the second best player in the game. After Salah, he's the second best player in the game, 100%. He will outscore Haaland and Kane this season. I would put good money on it.
Okay. Have we got any last minute questions, guys, from you guys, Glenn, Nick, IBK? Anything you want to just add before we sign off? Are we all good?
Oh, I was going to ask Nick who his most differential player is in the starting 11.
In the starting 11, it probably might be Son, I don't know how many people have got Son. We were just talking about it. Either Callum Wilson or Son. It's probably one of those two because everyone out, sort of Robbo, Trent, Perisic, a lot of people have got. So yeah, probably I assume it would be Callum Wilson, and then not far behind Son, because I mean maybe a lot of the people that got Son might be more casual players, I would guess, potentially, because most kind of serious on all the Twitter drafts that I see, it's Salah, Kane, or Haaland, isn't it? Typically, and big at the back. So yeah, it'd be interesting. That's my differential. Just going for Son and Salah as opposed to a premium striker.
Yeah, Kane's at 26% and Son's at 25%. So
so he's quite highly, yeah, he is highly owned still then. But maybe it's just in Twitter we're not seeing it a lot.
Probably all the casuals gone for Son and Kane and stuff.
Casual.
Right.
This is the year of the casuals.
Oh God. Right. Anyway, we'll wrap things up. I've really enjoyed this, so it's gone a bit longer than usual, 55 minutes. But I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Also my guests as well, FPL Juice, Nick from FPL Juice, IBK, FPL Sandwich, and Glenn. Yeah, lads, thank you so much for taking the time coming on, and all the best as well for the season. All right, take care, everybody. Cheers, guys.
See you guys.